Imagine this. You're at a family dinner, exhausted from a grueling week of work. But you're there because family matters, right? Your mother-in-law corners you in the kitchen, her eyes darting nervously like she's hiding a secret. She hands you a drink with a smile that's just a little too forced. Special cocktail for my favorite son-in-law, she says, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. But you saw it, that quick flick of her wrist, pouring something colorless from a hidden vial into your glass when she thought you weren't looking. Your heart pounds. Your throat tightens. Is this happening? Poison. In your own family's home? You thank her politely, but inside, a storm is brewing. Discreetly, you switch glasses with her husband, the man who's spent years belittling your career, your dreams, your very worth. 45 minutes later, he's the one pale, sweating, rushing to the bathroom in agony. And as your mother-in-law's face drains of color, realizing what you've done, you lock eyes with her across the table. In that split second, you both know the truth. She tried to destroy you. However, the game has now changed. This isn't just a story of betrayal, it's a tale of cold, calculated revenge that will leave you cheering. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the most jaw-dropping Reddit revenge stories that prove karma isn't just a word, it's a force. Today, we are unpacking the chilling account of Julian Mercer, a 32-year-old independent photographer from Asheville, North Carolina, who turned the tables on his toxic in-laws in a way that'll have you hooked till the very end. Buckle up, because this one builds from quiet resentment to explosive justice. And trust me, the payoff is sweeter than you can imagine. If you've ever felt undervalued, disrespected, or straight up betrayed by family, or if you've dreamed of that perfect moment where the underdog rises and serves ice-cold revenge, hit that like button right now to show your support. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss these emotionally charged stories that remind us justice can be oh so satisfying. Let's dive in. My name is Julian Mercer, 32 years old, living in the misty mountains of Asheville, North Carolina. I'm an independent photographer, the kind who chases sunrises over fog-shrouded peaks, captures the raw power of bison charging through knee-deep snow in Montana, or freezes the joy of a bride's tear-streaked smile on her wedding day. I've built this business from scratch, with no handouts and no safety nets. Weddings pay the bills. Wildlife shoots get me into magazines like National Geographic. And if you're good, and I am damn good, it all adds up to a life I love. But to my in-laws, especially my mother-in-law Diane, it was never enough. Never real enough. To them, I was just a hobbyist playing pretend in a world of real men with real jobs. Let me paint the picture for you. Every Sunday dinner at their sprawling colonial style home in the ritzy part of town felt like stepping into a courtroom. Gerald, my father-in-law, was the judge, an investment banker with a sharper tongue, and a worldview measured in stock options and square footage. He'd lean back in his chair, swirling his scotch, and fire off questions like bullets. How's the little photography hobby going, Julian? He'd ask, not even bothering to hide the disdain curling his lip. His voice would boom across the table, echoing off the polished china and crystal, making sure everyone heard the mockery. Under the table, my wife Haley would squeeze my hand, a silent apology, her fingers warm against my clammy palm. I'd force a smile, nod politely, but inside, it burned, like acid eating away at my gut. Who was he to judge? I'd clawed my way up from nothing, while he inherited his wealth and coasted on connections. Diane was subtler, but no less vicious. She'd fuss over Haley, her daughter, adjusting her napkin or refilling her wine, all while shooting me sidelong glances. "Oh, Julian, your photos are so creative," she'd say, that word dripping like venom. Creative, as if it were a synonym for unstable, unreliable, unworthy. At family gatherings, she'd introduce me as the photographer, not her son-in-law, not Haley's husband, just the guy with the camera, like I was hired help snapping pics for the event. I'd stand there, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks, my fists clenching in my pockets as relatives nodded politely and moved on. Haley and I met 6 years ago at an art exhibition in downtown Asheville. My wildlife series was on display, stark black and white. Shots of eagles soaring over the Blue Ridge Mountains. She was finishing her master's in environmental science, her eyes lighting up as she traced the lines of my prints. "You capture the soul of the wild," she said, her voice soft but passionate. We connected instantly. She got me, understood why I'd hike for hours in freezing rain, just for that perfect shot. And I admired her fire for protecting the planet, her dreams of conservation projects that could change the world. We were a team, building a life together on our terms. But her parents, from day one, they made it clear I didn't fit their mold. Gerald expected someone like him for Haley, desk job, retirement plan, company car. At our first dinner, he grilled me about my income like I was applying for a loan. "Photography's a tough gig, son. Ever think about something more stable?" His eyes bored into mine, challenging. Diane was all smiles on the surface, praising my work while slipping in digs. "When do you plan to settle down into a real career?" she'd ask, her manicured nails tapping the table. For years, I tried to win them over. I'd bring expensive bottles of wine to dinners, show them my published spreads in glossy magazines, and name-drop high-profile clients. Nothing changed. To them, I was a phase Haley would outgrow, a creative detour before she came to her senses. Last Christmas, I overheard Diane on the phone in their guest room. I was grabbing my coat when her voice floated through the cracked door. "Haley could have married Thomas, you know. Orthopedic surgeon, family money. But she chose the creative one." The way she paused before creative, it hit like a slap. Made it sound like a disease, something shameful. Gerald was blunter. When Haley and I announced we were trying for a baby, he pulled me aside in his study. The air thick with cigar smoke. "Children are expensive, son. Maybe think about real employment before bringing one into this world." His hand clamped my shoulder, heavy with condescension. I never told Haley these things. She loved her parents despite their flaws, Diane's overprotectiveness, Gerald's rigid expectations that I didn't want to force her to choose sides. So I swallowed it all, smiled through gritted teeth, shook Gerald's hand firmly at every visit, and complimented Diane's cooking even when it tasted like cardboard. From the tension, but there were signs. I should have heeded. Subtle at first, then glaring. Whenever I'd talk about a successful project, like landing a National Geographic gig, Diane would suddenly ask Haley to help in the kitchen, pulling her away mid-conversation. At family photos, she'd accidentally exclude me, positioning everyone just so until I was edged out of the frame. Once, Gerald suggested therapy for Haley's impulsive decisions while staring right at me. His implication clear: I was the mistake. I ignored it, thinking time would bring acceptance. Foolish optimism. I was wrong, dead wrong. The Friday of Diane's birthday dinner. I'd just returned from a wildlife assignment in Montana. Knee-deep snow, wind whipping my face raw. But I'd nailed it, shots of bison thundering. Across the plains that would pay our mortgage for months. Bone-tired, cheeks chapped and stinging, I showered, threw on a button-down shirt, and drove us to their house. Haley insisted we couldn't miss it. Just a couple of hours, she promised. Her hand on my knee as we pulled into their driveway. That knot in my stomach twisted tighter, but I pushed it down. Dinner started normally, or as normal as it got with them. Gerald bragged about a recent deal, his voice booming like he was closing a boardroom pitch. Diane fussed over the table settings, clinking silverware with nervous energy. Haley's brother Owen and his wife Vanessa made polite small talk, their smiles strained. I nursed a beer, counting the minutes, the hoppy bitterness mirroring the resentment bubbling inside me. After the main course, some overcooked roast that stuck in my throat, Diane announced she'd made her famous sangria for dessert. She vanished into the kitchen, and I offered to help carry glasses, more out of politeness than anything. That's when I saw it. She had 2 glasses set apart from the others on the counter. As I entered, she quickly added something from a small vial, colorless, odorless, into one of them. Her back was to me, but I caught the motion in the reflection of the stainless steel fridge. She tucked the vial away the moment my footsteps echoed on the tile. "Oh, Julian, I've got this," she said, too brightly, her voice pitching up like a guilty child's. "This one's for you. A special recipe for my favorite son-in-law. Her smile didn't reach her eyes, which darted everywhere but at me. My throat tightened. The glass had a barely perceptible film floating on top, catching the kitchen light like oil on water. Something wasn't right. My pulse hammered in my ears, a cold sweat prickling my skin. Was this intentional? Poison? In a flash, paranoia gripped me. All those years of disdain, the subtle sabotage. This felt like an escalation. Let me help you carry these, I said, keeping my voice steady, though my hand shook slightly as I took both glasses. In the dining room, Gerald was checking his phone, barely looking up. Sangria, sir. I placed the tempered glass in front of him, my heart racing like I'd just run a marathon. I watched him drink, deep gulps, while I made an excuse about preferring water with dessert. The liquid swirled in his glass, that faint film disappearing down his throat. 45 minutes later, the shift hit like a thunderclap. Gerald's face paled, beads of sweat dotting his forehead. He clutched his stomach, excusing himself with a grunt, rushing to the bathroom. The violent sounds echoed through the house, retching, groaning, turning the air thick with discomfort. Diane's face drained of color, her fork clattering to her plate. Her eyes met mine across the table, wide with realization. In that moment, two things crystallized in my mind with absolute certainty. My mother-in-law had tried to poison me, and she knew that I knew. I didn't react, didn't confront her, just ate my chocolate cake, the sweetness cloying on my tongue, while Haley rushed to check on her father. In the chaos, Gerald insisting it was food poisoning, Diane stammering about bad shellfish. I quietly pocketed the untouched glass meant for me. Something shifted inside me then. The anger wasn't hot, explosive like a firecracker. It was cold, deliberate, like ice forming in my veins. I wasn't going to let this go, but I wasn't going to fight on their terms either. I was going to make them face exactly who they were: manipulators, controllers, poisoners of more than just drinks. Pause here. If you're feeling that rage building already, just wait. This is only the beginning. Julian's about to uncover a web of deceit that goes deeper than you think. Stick around. The Monday after, I took the glass to Jason, a former client who ran a toxicology lab. Personal or professional? He asked, eyeing the sealed sample. Family matter, I replied, my voice flat. 3 days later, his call came. Julian, there were benzodiazepines in that drink. Nothing lethal, but enough to knock someone out for hours. Maybe cause memory loss. Where the hell did you get this? I thanked him, requested a written report, and hung up without answering. Benzodiazepines, like Xanax. Not to kill, but to sabotage. Making me miss a gallery opening seams. Unreliable to Haley. The pieces clicked. All those digs about my hobby were just the surface. They wanted me gone. That night, I told Haley I wanted to skip Sunday dinners for a while. Need to focus on an upcoming exhibition, I said, forcing casualness. She was disappointed, her brow furrowing, but understood. I didn't show her the report yet. I needed more. Over the next 2 weeks, I dug deep. Diane had prescriptions for Xanax. From 3 different doctors. Doctor shopping. Doubling doses. Rumors swirled in town. Strange behavior at neighbor parties. Accusations of stealing jewelry at her country club. Stories her family buried with money and influence. I compiled it all, printouts, notes, a digital folder growing like a tumor. The moment came when Haley mentioned her mother needed photos for a social media profile. She specifically asked for you, Haley said, surprised. I agreed, arriving at their house alone. Camera bag in one hand, sealed envelope in the other. Diane waited, dressed impeccably, makeup perfect. Gerald was at the office. Before we start, I said quietly, my voice steel, I thought you might want to see this. I handed her the envelope, toxicology report, prescription records. Her hands trembled as she read, pages rustling like dry leaves. This is absurd, she whispered, but her voice cracked. I would never. We both know what happened. I cut her off, leaning in. What I don't know is why. Her face hardened, lips thinning. You're not good enough for my daughter. You never will be. A man should provide security, not pictures. Drugging your daughter's husband provides security. I kept my tone level, though fury coiled in my chest. It wasn't going to hurt you, she snapped, eyes flashing. Just makes you sick. Make you miss that ridiculous gallery opening. Show Haley you're unreliable. I let that sink in, the air heavy between us. Here's what happens next, I said finally. You're going to tell Gerald what you did. Then you're both going to start treating me with respect. Not because you've changed your minds, but because the alternative is Haley finding out exactly who her parents are. She laughed, hollow and forced. She'd never believe you over us. I picked up my camera bag. Maybe not. But she'll believe the lab report. The prescriptions, the neighbors you've alienated. Are you willing to bet your relationship with your daughter on that? I left without taking a single photo. That night, Diane called Haley in tears, claiming I'd been hostile and threatening. When Haley confronted me, her eyes searching mine, I couldn't hide anymore. I showed her everything, report, prescriptions, even hostile texts from Diane over the years. My mother wouldn't do this, she said, but her voice lacked conviction, trembling like a leaf in the wind. The next day, she confronted them alone. When she returned, her eyes red and puffy, she said quietly, "My father says it's a misunderstanding, that you're trying to drive a wedge because you're insecure about your career." I nodded, expecting it. "What do you think?" She didn't answer, just crawled into bed, turning away. Her back to me felt like a wall. I'd pushed back, but now I was the villain. Doubt was planted in the one person who mattered most. For 2 weeks, Haley barely spoke. She'd go to her parents alone, return with fresh tears and new doubts. I threw myself into work, long hours in my dark studio. The glow of my screen the only light in the darkness. My hand shook as I edited photos, mind racing. Had I lost her? Then, a package arrived. No return address, just my name in unfamiliar script. Inside, a USB drive and a note. "You should see this. Vanessa, Owen's wife." The drive held video files, home security footage from Gerald and Diane's house. Timestamp, the night of the dinner. There was Diane in the kitchen, adding the vial's contents. I'm entering, taking the glasses. Gerald drinking. But more, after we'd left. Diane was screaming at Gerald. "You drank from the wrong glass." Gerald yelled back, "This isn't the first time you've done something like this." I watched 3 times, heart pounding. Not just confirmation, evidence of a pattern. Gerald knew. The next file, 2 days later. They're arguing in the living room. "He knows what you did," Gerald said. "So what?" Diane replied, "It's his word against mine. Haley will never choose him over family. And if she does, she's not the daughter I raised." Then, chillingly, "Don't worry. I've already started talking to her about their marriage problems. Planting seeds. By the time I'm done, she'll be filing for divorce and thinking it was her idea." Hand shaking, I shut my laptop. This wasn't about me. It was systematic control over Haley's life. They'd done it for years. I called Vanessa. "Why send this?" "Because they did the same to me when I married Owen," she said quietly. "Tried to break us up for 2 years. Said I wasn't good enough. It almost worked." "Why didn't you tell us?" "Owen doesn't know. He worships his father and believes everything. I've tried, but he thinks I'm paranoid. I couldn't watch them do it to someone else." The next day, a text from Gerald. "We should talk. Man to man. No wives." We met at his country club, in a private room reeking of leather and bourbon. He poured drinks, his hand steady. "Julian, families are complicated. My wife. She's protective. Means well. Drugging someone means well." I asked, voice low. He waved dismissively. "A misunderstanding. Diane takes anxiety meds. Probably mixed up glasses." "I have the security footage, Gerald." His face hardened, eyes narrowing to slits. "What do you want?" "Money. I always knew you married Haley for financial reasons. I want you both to leave us alone. Stop convincing Haley I'm not good enough. Stop interfering." He leaned forward, breath hot with alcohol. "You think this is the first time we've dealt with someone like you? People are trying to take advantage. Haley will come home. She always does. Ask her about Thomas, the fiancé before you. Cold dread washed over me. What? Engaged before you? Nice guy, doctor. We didn't like his background. Took 6 months to convince her he was wrong. She broke it off, came crying to Daddy. He smiled, triumphant. History repeats, son. On the drive home, I called Haley's college roommate, Bethany. Thomas. Oh God, that was awful. He was perfect for her, but her parents convinced her he was cheating. Planted evidence. He tried to prove it, but she didn't trust him anymore. The pattern crystallized control. Anyone encouraging Haley's independence? Pushed out. I gathered more, reached out to Thomas, who sent old emails showing the undermining. Contacted ex-boyfriends, old friends who drifted away. All pointed to Gerald and Diane's manipulation. Vanessa provided more footage. Them plotting. Once they divorce, we'll convince her to move home, Gerald said. She can run the foundation, meet suitable men. I compiled it all on one drive. Then, I invited Owen and Vanessa over for dinner. Without telling Haley. Over dessert. I connected my laptop to the TV. There's something you need to see. For an hour, we watched. Haley sat motionless, face pale. Owen shook his head, muttering, "That's not my parents." When it ended, tears streamed down Haley's face. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I needed you to see it all. Not just what they did to me, but to you. Your whole life." Owen exploded. "This is bullshit. You've edited these." Vanessa touched his arm. "They did it to us, too. Why do you think they suddenly like me after our son? Leverage." Owen's face drained. "You never told me." "I tried. You wouldn't listen." That night, Haley crawled into bed. "I need time, but I believe you. I'm sorry I doubted." The next morning, Diane called. Haley put her on speaker. "Darling, come stay with us. We are worried about you. Marriage is hard. Separation can help." "Mom," Haley interrupted, voice firm. "I've seen the videos. You are drugging Julian's drink. You and Dad are plotting to break us up." Silence. Then, whatever he's shown you is manipulated. Julian's jealous of our family. Stop. We are coming over tonight. All of us. Owen, Vanessa, Julian, and me. No more lies. After hanging up, Haley turned to me. "They'll deny everything. Turn it on, you." I know. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. Time they met the real me, the one who tells stories. The confrontation is coming, and it's epic. If your blood's boiling, like and comment below what you do in Julian's shoes. Let's keep going. That night, we arrived with my camera equipment. Owen and Vanessa sat stiffly. Gerald seemed confident. Misunderstanding. "No," I interrupted, setting up the tripod. "I'm documenting this for family archives." Diane objected. "This is private." Exactly. Family business. And I'm family, though you've tried to change that. For 2 hours, we laid it out, the drink, manipulations, Thomas, exes, the patterns shaping their lives. They denied, unstable, manipulative. But with each, I played clips and showed emails. Their faces paled, and their denials weakened. Finally, Haley stood. "I love you, but this is unforgivable. You don't control my life anymore." Owen nodded. "We are adults. Our parts." Diane cried, not remorse, but loss of control. Gerald looked stunned, like a king dethroned. As we left, I handed Gerald the drive. "Everything's here. I'm not sharing it. That'd hurt Haley. But interfere again. And copies go to your club, partners, circle." For the first time, respect flickered in his eyes. "I underestimated you." "Yes," I said. "You did." 6 months passed. Haley and Owen started therapy, unpacking the damage. Diane and Gerald kept their distance, respecting boundaries. Over the holidays, they invited us. Fresh start. Haley wanted to go. "They're trying." I agreed, but was wary. Dinner seemed normal. Diane's feast, Gerald charming, asking about my projects, genuinely. After, Gerald invited me to his study, pouring scotch. Proposition, join my firm. Junior partner. Substantial salary. I set the glass down untouched. Why? Family. I respect how you handled this. Protected Haley stood her ground. No. It's control. You can't buy me. Can't stand Haley loves me as I am. Don't be a fool. Everyone has a price. That's why you'll never understand her. I left. In the dining room, Diane showed Haley albums. You were so happy at home. Haley caught my eye and stood. Mom, Dad, we are having a baby. 3 months. Shock. Diane embraced her, tears. Gerald, congratulations, stiffly. To him, quietly, this child won't be your pawn. I promise. He nodded, understanding. Driving home, Haley squeezed my hand. They'll never change. No, but they'll accept we have. 3 weeks later, a letter, deed to our house, trust fund for the baby. No strings. Acknowledgement. Our daughter Eliza was born in the summer. Diane and Gerald visited respectfully, with no advice. Months later, the relationship normalized. No apology, but no control. One evening, Haley, Mom wants Christmas. What do you want? Go, but conditions. Hotel, our terms, no unsupervised time with Eliza. Sounds reasonable. She sat beside me. I used to think success was their approval. Now, it's choices I'm proud of, standing by who I love. 2 weeks before Christmas, an envelope from Gerald, company report with my photos. Note, hired the best photographer I know. Respect boundaries. That spring, I opened my gallery. At the opening, family and friends. Gerald and Diane came briefly. Diane held Eliza under watch. Gerald shook my hand, nodded at the photos approvingly, and left without suggestions. On our porch later, stars overhead. Eliza asleep, I realized I'd won not by their game, but by refusing it. Honesty, persistence, living well, the best revenge. And there it was, the climax, the sweet release. In that final confrontation, as the videos played and the denials crumbled, Diane's tears weren't of sorrow but defeat. Her carefully constructed facade shattering like glass. Gerald's stunned silence spoke volumes. The man who measured worth in dollars finally saw a force he couldn't buy. Julian's voice, steady and unyielding, echoed the triumph. You underestimated me. The room hung heavy with justice served, not with violence or schemes, but irrefutable truth. Julian felt it rush through him, relief washing away years of doubt, triumph surging like a wave, validation that he was enough, always had been. The antagonists, humiliated, exposed, their power stripped. They regretted everything in that moment, faces ashen, knowing they'd lost control forever. Stories like this remind us, true revenge isn't always loud or destructive. Sometimes, it's the quiet stand, the unyielding truth, that delivers the deepest justice. Karma has a way of circling back and living authentically. That's the ultimate win. What do you think? Is acceptance enough, or should apologies be demanded? If this tale of betrayal turned triumph gave you chills or had you fist pumping, smash that like button and drop a comment. What's the most satisfying revenge you've witnessed or pulled off? Subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories that hit right in the feels. And turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the next one. Thanks for watching. See you in the comments.